Should the Knicks stay the course, or should the Knicks run it back? There was a lot of discussion today, especially on ESPN. KG, he actually said that this Knicks team is perfect. Run it back. Like, you have everything you need. You got you got your dog in Brunson. You got Julius Randle. You got OG. Um, I think it was I don't even want to say his name, but he said the same thing on a Get Up, on one of the show Get Up. He believes that the Knicks should run it back. And there was an article on the Athletic by Fred Katz where he said the Knicks still have hopes of signing that big player, like making that big trade that they've been hoarding these first round picks. So I do want to get your opinion on this topic right here. Should the Knicks run it back or go big name hunting, Don Juan?
So this is a great topic because this is almost like an off season where it's probably might be one of those off seasons where we're gonna see not just one but a few superstars being available. And like Triple M mentioned, we have these picks that we've been hoarding, and we have two specifically in this draft. And the last 3, 4 drafts, we've seen the Knicks trade out of it. So it's gonna be interesting how they handle that. But I do feel like we should run it back, but almost like we're tools. So I I say that to say, like, look, we got Bogey for a reason. Obviously he was helpful during the playoffs, but we got him. The bigger picture reason we got him is because of that contract. I do feel like we could package up a deal where we could improve the starting lineup a bit. So for the one player, and it sucks because he has such a great season. Probably should have been in the most improved conversation. But personally, I think Dante is best as a six man. He's an undersized shooting guard, and I feel like if we could improve the shooting guard position, it would be nice. I mean, there's players that we could bring up. I mean, I wouldn't go for Donovan Mitchell, but someone in the likes of Mikal Bridges, even though he's more of a small forward. But imagine us lineup of Mikal Bridges and OG. But also, and I know not that many people are fans of his, but Paul George. I mean, Paul George, he's a little older now, but in terms of being a complementary piece, he might be the perfect fit. He plays off ball, a good wing defender, good size, efficient scorer, could shoot from. I mean, all around he could drive, midi, 3 pointer. I mean, the guy has a 3 level game on offense, and then you add the defense. Humble guy, willing passer. Like he's not a guy that's gonna try to take the shine away from Brunson. And then Macau, another Villanova guy. So why wouldn't we, entertain that? Add another one to the bunch. Preferably, I prefer PG, but that might be the tough ask based on what it would take to trade for him. That might have to include a Randall. Maybe not. Honestly, PG definitely has a bit of leverage because he could easily opt out and be a free agent, or he could work with the Clippers and say, "Look, I'll opt in, trade me to the team I want, and at least y'all could get some picks in return, some expiring contracts, and that could work in your favor." So there's definitely ways to get him as well. It just would take a lot of people behind the scenes coming agreeing to it working out. And then Macau, do the Nets really want to play ball with the Knicks? This
Uh,
recently, the Nets were offered honestly a crazy package from the Rockets, and they didn't fold. They seem like they want to build around Mikal Bridges. So it, that seems a little bit less realistic. But hey, you never know. This offseason is going to be a lot of things moving around. I know the Nets are also big game hunting, so that's another reason why I probably don't see that happening. But if I were to make a move, it's almost like make an improvement in that starting lineup. So in a
hey
sense, it's like
man,
running it back, but not really.
not really. It doesn't sound like you want to earn it back. It sounds like you trying to make a couple moves,
Hey,
Don
trying to
Juan. I
make a couple
see.
moves. You listed like five, 6 guys we can
Yeah.
add to the team already.
And just piggybacking on that Paul George topic, I've been a fan of Paul George for a long time on the show. I've been saying it. Like, I would love Paul George. He's CAA. So you want to make those noise in the background, you could do it with the CAA. The only thing is that the man is turning 35. It's gonna demand at least 3 to 4 years and 200 million. Do you really want to do that? And like, is really replacing Julius Randle with Paul George, is that really an improvement, or is it kind of like a linear kind of thing? So those are key questions,
Yeah.
you know,
No, that's a
that we
fact.
could
But
talk
that's why I
we could
said
talk about.
in hopes that we could keep Randall. I think
Yeah.
that I feel like we gotta stack the deck almost. We
And
can't
the
like
Clippers, they're moving into that new arena. They're not really looking to get picks. They're really looking
that's
for
true.
impactful players. But look, I would love Paul George on this team. He's like, he'll fit like OG. He'll fit like a glove. You
Hmm.
mentioned the playing the off the ball, like that's what he does. He's a knockdown shooter on the spot up. Could play the two, could play the three. It'll be just we'll have just Paul George and OG on the wing. Oh my God,
The
that'd be
versatility is
great.
gonna be crazy.
Yeah, but
And
the
then the
man is only
caveat
playing
there.
50 games a season though.
Well, he
That's
played 74 this year, so
of
but
course
but I feel
contract
like the
year.
caveat
You
there
know
is
that that's
also
coming.
which is
Contract
why I
year.
would like Randall even there is that Randall and PG are really good friends.
Yeah,
I think PG. I mean, the money has to be a factor in terms of not signing that contract extension. I know that we've been getting into PG a little bit too long
yeah. I
or
mean, he
more
was
than
on
we
the
wanted,
podcast.
but
Randall was on the podcast.
he's tired. He's tired of. I'm pretty sure he's tired of playing with Kawhi. He's pretty much been handcuffed to Kawhi, and Kawhi has been so unreliable,
Yeah, and he was
and the
not good.
Clippers hasn't been something that although he definitely wanted to go to LA, it hasn't been as promising as he probably thought it would be.
See, it's crazy. Oh yeah, see, yeah. I was initially inclined to just let's just run it back because just seeing the chemistry that the Villanova guys got, like I don't know if bringing somebody in is just gonna it's gonna mess up that chemistry. And I mean we've already solidified that Jalen Brunson is a superstar. So whoever that we do bring in has to kind of he kind of has to fit Brunson's game, which means that whoever does come here has to know that okay, I'm not gonna have the ball in my hands every single time. Like this is the guy that's gonna have the ball most of the time, and so that's the reason why I'm most inclined to bring him back. But man, all the names y'all bringing up, I ain't gonna lie, the only name that was on my mind, man, was KD. Like
I know it.
that's really the guy that like would just like if you telling me we have a chance for somebody, KD is the guy. Like I know we gonna have that conversation this summer, but
Hold on, you
yeah,
just said that we have to incorporate players to fit with Brunson, and the guy you would like is KD.
facts, facts.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. We've seen KD with a guy. We've seen KD play with a guy that has the ball in his hands most of the time. And he
Multiple
won,
times.
and he won 2 chips with that guy. So yeah, he works perfectly. Like again, this is one of the top 10 scorers, like literally one of the top 10 scorers, like in this league, like top two best basketball players ever in my life. Like if he wants to rewrite his wrongs, like he comes to New York. Like for all the mistakes he made of going to Brooklyn, doing the Phoenix thing, like if you really want to have a storybook ending to your career, you come there. But again, I don't know if that's gonna, again, if that's just because y'all was bringing up names, and that's the
So
only person I
Zebo,
had
you
on my
want to
mind.
run it back? You
Wow.
want to run it back?
I want to run it back, bro. To be honest with you, with the team we
Okay.
have now, I would run it back. Like again, I just keep thinking. I hate playing the hypothetical game, bro. But out of the four teams that are left, out of the four teams are left. If we had a healthy team, bro. Out of the four teams left in the playoffs, I'll be honest, bro. I think we're number one. I just honestly think that. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Randall. When he's on it, He's one of the best power forwards in the league, and so, and we saw that combination with him, OG and Brunson. It just works out perfectly. You're talking about, and then again, you don't have Josh Hart playing 48 minutes when you do have a person like Randall, when you have Bogdanovich, when you have that depth. And I know this offseason that there's big decisions that have to be made, specifically with Randall, because it seems like from what I'm hearing, it seems like he's going to be a big trade piece. the number that he has on his contract is very like it's it's a good contract for a lot of teams. Like again, it doesn't eat up that much money. I know OG is come. I know OG's contract is coming up. I don't know what that's looking like, but from
40.
from what everyone is saying, is looking like 40. I'm hoping it's not, to be honest with y'all, but
It's gonna be
you
40.
never know. You never know. It might be 30. It might be
It's not gonna be.
30.
It's not gonna
Like,
be
come
30.
on. I did.
It's just not gonna be 30, bro. Just
I listen. I
I'm
get it.
giving
With the
you the
assets we give up,
expectation.
you know
It's
what, bro?
not
We
gonna be
we we
30.
we gonna we gonna talk about that, and I get it because with the assets we gave up, it
Exactly.
is what it is. But man, with this injury history, I know it has to be a little scary. But but I mean the numbers back it up, bro, and the record speaks for itself. Like when he's on the floor, like he gives us a really great chance. And so,
Exactly.
and like I said, I
That's
like
why
the
it's gonna be
chemistry. The
40.
one thing I will disagree with Don Juan is that I actually like Dante as our solidified number two, man. Like I just think he's a great cat. He's a great 3-point shooter. He plays defense. I know he's a little bit undersized, but I think for the number that we have him right, I think for the contract that we have him now and for the production he brings in, I think even next year will be an even better season for Dante. So I just like the chemistry with the guys we have right now, and like I said, I think with a healthy team, I think with a fully healthy team, like there's no one in the East that can. Um, even with Giannis coming back, you don't know what Miami's gonna do. Boston is still gonna be Boston, basically the same team, and so I think, like I said like I said during the season, I think we're right there with Boston and Milwaukee. So, yeah, for me, I would be inclined to bring it back.
That's fair. Yeah, I was
Zebo,
looking at
man.
KD stats while you were talking there, and he actually did
It
pretty.
looked crazy,
He actually
right?
did pretty good this year. That's
Bro,
stats. So
he did
there's a lot
great.
of
Man, it's Kevin
context.
Durant. We know
He's
who he
Kevin
is.
Durant, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, we
But
know who he is.
look,
So
Zebo, you said you like the crowd and the culture that the Knicks are building here, and then you want to bring this dark cloud in Kevin Durant, who's ran from the smoke literally his entire NBA career, left OKC, left Golden State, left Brooklyn, now will leave Phoenix. like I love I do Kevin Durant, man, top 10 NBA player, probably gonna go down as one of the best scorers all time. But he's past his prime, man. Those days are over. Wanting
I
Kevin
don't
Durant,
know.
I mean, those days, it would just be like a dark cloud the the the
I
fun
don't think
Knicks,
so.
the
I don't
gritty,
think.
the exciting Knicks, bro. Everywhere he goes, there's like extreme pressure. There hasn't been anywhere that he's gone where it's been like all like what we just had, what we just experienced this season. You know what
But
I
I
mean?
think at this point, but bro, I mean, again, you
He's not
like you
changing.
stated,
He's 36 years old.
that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. Like if he wants to end his career the right way, he like this is the team he has to come. And like you said, bro, at this point, like we're an elite team. Like we're not up and coming no more. Like again, we have championship aspirations moving forward, and if we and moving forward, if that's the type of that's the type of guy we need to bring in, like with those type of because he has championship aspirations, and so you bring a guy like that in. I want to believe that if he comes to this type of team, he's willing. Like he knows, like okay, you know what? I have Brunson. I have the point guard that I need to kind of get everything stable. I have the guys that are willing to do all the dirty work, that are willing to, kind of play their role. And all I literally have to do is just create my own offense, which is if I gotta spot up, that's the amazing thing about Kevin Durant, bro. Like he can be a spot up 3-point shooter. Like he doesn't have to create a shot every single time. And I think he knows that, especially at this age, like he doesn't have to go crazy every single time. And you bring him to a team like this where everything is pretty much already set, like the foundation is set. I think you just you adding him in is like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, man. I just feel like you put that foundation in, and then you bring in something that's very heavy and it's gonna shake the foundation a little bit. I'm just not with it, for real. I'm
I
just
mean,
not with it.
he has done that everywhere he's landed at, besides Golden State. But Brooklyn, there was a promising young team similar to what the Knicks. I mean, obviously in a different way. I feel like they never got to the point of 51 team, but culture with starting with their coach in Atkinson, and then a bunch of young guys, whether it's the D'Los or even Spencer Dinwiddie figuring it out. And then in Phoenix was just in the finals a couple years back. And then KD comes, everybody gets thrown out, trades here, new coach. Like a lot of things happens when KD comes into the team. But as what you kind of said that Triple M, you said we enough about the culture and not so much the culture, but thinking about but we never had that. And I do think not that I want KD. I'm looking at his stats and it's pretty impressive though. But but you know we have to get serious and make a gamble. Is this the right guy? Maybe not.
Nah,
And but time will tell. Time will tell. We have seen him try to at least buy into the culture before he starts demanding stuff. Maybe Tom Thibodeau isn't the coach for him, but a lot of people say that, and then and
exactly.
then maybe based off how the mentality of the surrounding players, that could persuade him to be like, maybe it's not so bad. But I do remember him being actually one of the biggest names that has criticized Tom Thibodeau. Not
Yeah,
sure
man. I
where
mean,
I've
look,
heard it somewhere
we've
though.
been talking about Kevin Durant and Paul George. It's way too long these episodes already at this point. But just a last point on KD before I make my point. Zebo's talking about like we gonna get KD for just draft picks. He said Julius Randle's gonna still be here. No, Randle's gone. If
Yeah,
KD's here,
I
Randall's
Randle's
gone.
gone.
Paul George is
DiVincenzo's
gone
gone.
too. Paul George is gone too.
For no, but
I
this
mean,
is
if we bring in Paul George, like
this is what Don Juan mentioned. Like this is that CAA connection. Randall and George are friends. This is that backdoor stuff where Paul George is like, I'm leaving. He's a free agent this summer. Literally a free agent this summer. He
Mhm.
has all the leverage.
I don't think he's gonna leave though. I just don't think
Why
the Clippers
not?
gonna make a
They
leave
they
like
signed
that, bro.
Kawhi a long time ago. This Paul George, the longer it takes, the longer it's kind of like what's going on.
But they building a new stadium. Like I think they're gonna entice him for him to stay. Like I just
But
don't
bro,
think
it's
the
just that this is why I really think this NBA offseason is gonna be the craziest offseason we ever seen. That second
I think so
CBA,
too.
everybody's watching from that. Everybody's watching that already. That tax line, you do not want to go above it because after that, your team is screwed. You can't do
Mhm.
nothing. Your draft pick is
I
frozen.
feel you.
You can't
And by the
aggregate
way, I never
contracts.
mentioned Randall. I never mentioned Randall with that rotation. No, like in
You
all the
said the
KD's
foundation is in place. Randall's not part of the
with
foundation.
Brunson, nah. I honestly at this if we talking about bringing a guy in like KD,
Oh my
I was talking
Zebo, he's
about
flipped.
Brunson,
Yo,
Josh
you
Hart.
switching up on
I'm
your
nah nah
boy.
nah nah
You
nah.
switching up on your boy.
Bro, it just
That was
bro,
pretty surprising.
it is what it is, bro. Like whatever big move the Knicks are making, Randall is gonna be a big piece, which I did
Yeah.
emphasize. Like that contract that he has is enticing for a lot of teams. And again,
No,
this is
you're
an
right.
all
You did say
NBA
that.
player. Like
I mean, he's a
unfortunately, it
free
is what
agent
it
next
is.
season. He's a free agent next season. So
And I
teams
don't think they'll
have
give him
to,
an
if they
extension.
make a
Like he
trade for him, they have to think about him long term, and
Long
that's
term,
Nah,
why
yeah.
that's why he's gonna be.
and the Knicks aren't gonna extend him, especially right now because he just had surgery. So yeah, bro, he's unfortunately, bro. As much as I love my guy, like it's just right now he's in a tough spot right now.
Nah, I think he's gonna be all right. I think he still has that player. If he could play next season, if he gets hurt or whatever the case might be, he just pick up his option. Or if he balls out like he's been doing, he's gonna get paid. So he's in a great predicament right now.
Yeah.
I don't
I
feel
don't
bad for
know.
Randall. He's
I
sitting
do.
good.
I
He's a
do, bro.
three-time
I
All
ain't gonna lie.
Star. In the last 3 years, he's been an all. In the last 4 years, he's been an All Star 3 times. You come back next season, the team is set. They running plays. They're gonna do run for you. He's playing for Coach Tibbs, who's gonna play you 40 minutes a night. You're gonna put up your stat. He's good right now. Don't get me wrong. But just
No, I
quickly
don't
on my
know, bro.
point, running it back or making a trade. You know me, fellas. I want to see a trade. I do. I want to see it. That's it, man. Like Dante DiVincenzo and the Nova guys, I like them. I love them. But I feel like Dante's the sixth man. Josh Hart's the seventh man. Now you need to add more talent into that starting rotation. I'm not getting googly eyes off Dante DiVincenzo off these playoffs because if you look at the championship teams for the last 20 years, it's been top 15 NBA players there. Now, you can make that argument that JB is that top 15 NBA player for us now. but we still need a little bit more because, Julius Randle was unfortunate, but we didn't see him again this playoff, and that's like the problem. We just don't know what Randle comes out in the playoffs because he struggled for so many years. You can make the arguments why he struggled, and I agree with those arguments, but once again, you don't see it. So do you go the whole next season again and go into the playoffs without knowing what you're gonna get from Randall? So it's just I think it's time to cash in those chips because we're gonna get expensive quick. OG is gonna cost us 40 million, even though Zebo doesn't want to admit it. He's gonna cost us 40 million. Jalen Brunson, he's coming in. He's gonna cost you 50 million, close to 60 million. So this is the summer to do it, fellas. This is the summer to do it. Get all that talent in there, and you got a nice little 3-4 year window to finally end this title drought. That's where I want to see, man. I want to see this title drought end. Think about it. If you're 53 years old, you never seen the Knicks win title, man. I do not want to be a 53-year-old and never see a Knicks win a title because after these playoffs, I'm tired, man. I'm about to detox for a whole month because I was going crazy every night. I was going out. So I could only imagine if we win that title. So listen, I think this is the summer. I think this has to be the summer where we make our move because I'm just thinking future wise. Next year, Brunson's gotta get signed. OG's gonna be here. He's already signed. What are you gonna do with Randall? Let's say you keep Randall, just in this hypothetical that we're doing. He's gonna get paid. So now you in that second tax, and it's like, okay, like this team is not working, or whatever the case might be. So let's go for it. Let's go for it. Give me the names, Donovan Mitchell, Paul George, Bridges. There's gonna be so many movements this year, fellas. It's gonna be crazy, and
Yeah.
thankfully we don't get paid millions of dollars to have to make these tough decisions because it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. There's gonna be so much player movement and stuff that we don't see. Um, but I want us to be aggressive. I don't want us to just take this season, which was a great season. Don't get me wrong. We haven't talked about what a great season it was much, just because we've been recapping the tough loss. But I don't want us to do the mistake that we did a few years ago, where we made the playoffs and we're like, "Oh, let's run it back," and then we ran it back and it was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
I don't want that, dude. I don't want to do that same mistake. Obviously, the circumstances are different, players are different, but I hit the
Now we hear you. We hear you.
Now we hear you. There you go.
yeah. So yeah, man, that's just my two takes here on this topic.
That's good points. I mean, and that last one was pretty hard hitting because after making that run in what was that 2021, I felt like we all were like, yeah, run it back, yeah, bought in Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks. I think they were all due up a contract, and then we picked up Kemba, we picked up Fournier, which was like positions of need, or we,
Hmm.
we added another scorer. But man, that was just a smack to the face,
Disaster. Yeah.
and realistically, just face reality because the following year, who the Hawks beat us that year, we made the playoffs. They fell flat on their face as well. So it's just very telling that at the end of the day, even if you make a run, have a good year like the Knicks versus this year, everybody else is improving. Everybody else is making moves. So if
Success is
you
not
if you
promised. Good point.
if you pretty much run it back, you're pretty much with that same roster. Everybody might make improvements. I mean, the Bucks, who were one of the favorites in the East, dealt with some injuries this year. Also, coaching change. Then you got Philly. Philly's gonna come back improved with an open slot. Paul George might even entertain that going there because he's a free agent. They got some money to spend. Like there's teams out there that's gonna
And we
be
might
big,
lose
big game
iHeart.
hunting,
I don't want to cut you off. We might lose iHeart.
and that too. I mean, he might be priced
Nah,
out.
he gonna get paid. Nah, yeah, he's
Yeah,
definitely getting paid.
he's
And
gonna
what?
get
So what? A
paid.
backup is precious. Like I don't know how sustainable that is.
We gotta see, man. We
Yeah,
gotta
bro.
see. It's
Nah,
gonna
yeah,
be it's
bro.
gonna be an
Nah.
amazing off season. I agree. It's gonna be an amazing off season.